promise anything you like in the state of nature, but you don't have to follow through on it. There is one exception. I do want to point out that's kind of funny here. He does say that covenants entered into fear in the condition of mere nature are obligatory, and he talks about ransoming your life, right? Somebody, says, I'm going to kill you if you don't pay a ransom. Okay, you do have to follow through on that. But
I don't see the funny part there, Gregory Sadler.
That's not really that important.
Yeah, it's not important. So then why did you waste our damn time with it, huh? So this asshole likes to smell his own farts. He's a big-time douchebag. He's a person that you would have to sit in class and listen to him just go on and on about himself. And if you ask a good question and he doesn't understand it, I'm just going to go, this is about the first and second laws of nature, according to Thomas Hobbes. And instead of taking 18 minutes to tell you what the hell the first and second laws, 18 minutes just to tell you 2 laws, I'll just straight up tell you what the 2 laws are. So let's go back here. And the fundamental law is this, and consequently it is a precept or a general rule of reason that every man ought to endeavor peace as far as he hope of obtaining it. And when he cannot obtain it, that he may seek and use all helps and advantages of war. The first branch of which rule containeth the first and the fundamental law, which is to seek peace and follow it. The second, the sum of the right of nature, which is by all means we can to defend ourselves. So the first law of nature is, there's kind of 2 things there. 1, the right to peace, and 2, the right to self-defense. Number 2, the second law of nature. From this fundamental law of nature by which men are commanded to endeavor peace is derived this second law, that a man be willing, when others are so too, as far forth as for peace and defense of himself, he shall think it necessary to lay down this right to all things. To lay down this right to all things and be contented with so much liberty against other men as he would allow other men against himself. So the right to life, liberty, and property. Can we all agree on that? We all got a right to life, liberty, and property. There we go. Okay, we've got through it within, less than 3 minutes. But I want to kind of laugh at this guy for a little bit. So,
laws of nature, and these are really foundational for his moral and political and social theory. What it is that he's advocating ought to get us out of the state of nature, which is inevitably a state of war in which our lives are, as he so famously puts it, nasty, brutish, and short.
No, he didn't just say nasty, brutish, and short. He said solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. There's 5 very particular terms there. Poor, there's solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. So you forgot a whole bunch of important parts there. Nasty, brutish, no, there's solitary. You're thinking what, poor and solitary doesn't mean anything? Well, my life was nasty, brutish, and short. Were you rich, though? You could have been rich, and did you have a ton of friends? Yeah, I had a ton of friends, and I was rich. No, it was solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. That's important because you got Hobbes versus Rousseau, and then you got Locke versus Diderot, and then you have goddamn motherfucking Voltaire. Don't even get me started on Voltaire. So, this guy's a liar. Watch. Listen to this shit.
And really, there's 2 parts of the solution of how to get out of the state of nature for Thomas Hobbes. And the laws of nature are a really central part of it, but they are not on their own enough to get us there, enough to provide us with the framework.
No, they do get us there. What a word salad. So this guy, his tie goes all the way down to the damn floor. So I want to actually read this little paragraph where that solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short quote comes from. So, because it just to let you know how he really kind of bumbled this. It's a war of all versus all. And if we cannot figure out constitutional law, we can't figure out natural law amongst ourselves, well, it's going to be war against all versus all. And that's terrible. So we need to come up with something. Natural law, goddamn 10 Commandments, motherfucking constitutional law, something. Somebody needs to have some damn rules. And natural law is you figuring it out yourself. And then constitutional law says you're not supposed to do this and that, but you're allowed to do these freedoms. Whatsoever therefore is consequent to a time of war, where every man is enemy to every man. The same is consequent to the time wherein men live without other security than what their own strength and their own invention shall furnish them withal. In such condition there is no place for industry, because the fruit thereof is uncertain. And consequently no culture of the earth, no navigation, nor use of the commodities that may be imported by sea, no commodious building, no instruments of moving and removing such things as require much force, no knowledge of the face of the earth, no account of time, no arts, no letters, no society, and which is worst of all, continual fear, and the danger of violent death, and the life of man, solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short.
Of a functioning society in which moral norms can not only be believed in, but acted on, and you could say rewarded and protected. So
No, not rewarded and protected. And you saw that. He said the thing. He's just full of shit. So he kind of gets the first concept right, but then he doesn't have a conclusion with his sentence. And since he's a liar, you see the Pinocchio effect. Look how he wipes his nose.
And you could say rewarded and protected.
Liar, liar. Pants on fire. So these dictates of reason, this is some more Hobbes, okay? This is what he thinks about these laws of nature. What are the laws? Well, it's not so much laws, but since we sat here and thought about it, we sat about here and thought about it logically, take the right to self-defense. I have a right to defend myself. What kind of piece of shit would say somebody doesn't have a right to defend themselves? These dictates of reason men used to call by the names of laws, but improperly, for they are but conclusions or theorems concerning what conduceth to the conservation and defense of themselves. Whereas law properly is the word of him that by right hath command over others. So he's saying we deduced that self-defense is a right for everybody, and therefore it's a law of nature. If you're being attacked, you should defend yourself. That's a law of nature. But yet, if we consider the same theorems as delivered in the word of God, that by right commandeth all things, then they are properly called laws. So we deduce that self-defense, logically, is a right of man, and since it's the first law, it's the law of God, then it is a law. So it's not really a law in the sense of you better do this or you're going to be coerced in order to do it, but your own damn conscience, your own damn reason would coerce you to do it. So go ahead, Pinocchio.
Let's start by talking about what a law of nature is for Thomas Hobbes. So this is a term that he's not coming up with himself, although his formulation of it is going to be rather unique to him. It's an idea that's been around for quite a long time, not only in the sense of, physics and the natural laws governing those sorts of things, which are actually coming a little bit later, but the notion of there being a law that is inscribed upon the human heart or soul, and that we can discover within ourselves that isn't a law just of one particular community, but it's...
So there is something about that, about how they say that it's written upon the heart. It's written upon the heart. Here's the first sentence of the Declaration of Independence. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect of the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to separation. Now, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitles them. So the Declaration, they say Constitution is the law, but the Declaration is the spirit of the law. Where did it come from, and for what reason, and for what purpose? So the Declaration says we have a right to life, liberty, and not property, but the pursuit of happiness. And the Declaration also says that the laws of nature says that sometimes you just can't be oppressed. Sometimes obedience to authority. Resistance to tyranny is obedience to God. That's a law of nature. Resistance to tyranny is obedience to God. So let's go on. Eventually he says the damn law. 5 minutes in, he eventually gets to the first fucking law. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. More bullshit, 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 bullshit. Don't wear a tie like he does. Re-tie your tie. Do not have your tie hanging down to the floor. You probably should wash your hair every once in a while. I mean, my God, this is... what the hell? And I don't know, maybe find Jesus. I don't know what this guy's problem is. But he's not talking about the Declaration. He's not really explaining Hobbes perfect. And then eventually...
Specific, what are these first general laws?
Yeah, get to it. Get to it.
So he tells us that exercising our reason, if we're stuck in the state of nature, which is war, or if we're worried about falling into that, we can think to ourselves about what would we need in order to get out of that. And so here's his rule. Every man ought to endeavor peace as far as he has hope of obtaining it. When he cannot obtain it, that he may seek and use all helps and advantages of war. So the first branch of which rule containeth the first and fundamental law of nature, which is to seek peace and follow it. So that is the central part. The second part of it says, by all means we can to defend ourselves. So the first law of nature, you can unpack it in different ways. It's essentially saying this. We'll put aside the defend yourself part.
Why would you put the defend yourself part off to the side? That makes no damn sense. It's a dictator of reason. We're just going to put self-defense off to the side. No, they're connected. You get to be peaceful, love peace, enjoy peace. Unless you can't be peaceful, then you got a war. That's the damn law. Self-defense. So if you just said his first law is the right to self-defense, then you got it. You got it. His first law is the right to self-defense. Because self-defense says you're not being violent for violence sake. You're not going around attacking people for violence sake. It's saying that if somebody is being violent upon you, if you're being attacked by a damn lion or a tiger or a bear, oh my, then you get to defend yourself. You get to defend yourself. And so, does not self-defense presume peace beforehand?
If you can indeed come to some sort of arrangement with other people where you have a good chance of enjoying peace, right? Comfort, safety, security, you ought to endeavor it. Now, what does endeavor mean? We usually think of endeavoring as, sort of a vague...
Endeavor means to try. I'm looking at this Merriam-Webster dictionary, and it says endeavor. There's 2 definitions here. It says endeavor is to try or to attempt. You need to try or attempt peace. Try to endeavor peace as far as one can hope to obtain it. To try, goodness gracious.
I'm going to endeavor.
He's making
to do
shit so much more complicated.
People often say this when they're actually not going to do it. Right? For Hobbes, this is a really basic orientation of the human being. We ought to seek it. We ought to do what it is that will bring it about. We will desire it. Appetite is one form of this. And so we should desire and pursue peace. Now, we can only do that so much on our part. And so here's where we get to the second law of nature. How do I get on the same page with you? Well, we give up some of our rights. In the state of nature, everybody has a right to do everything else. As Hobbes pointed out in the previous chapter, there's really no moral rules that have to be recognized. There's no right or wrong. You just do whatever you want to. Now, that means if I want to go and burn down your house and steal your chickens and, tie you up and throw you down a well and let you drown down there or hold you for ransom or do whatever else I'm going to do, that's okay. Because
You're going to goddamn burn down my house and steal my chickens, you motherfucker? And then tie people up and throw them down a well? Is that what he really wanted to say? Or touch their butts? What is it, Gregory Sadler? We want to know. This motherfucker, I swear to God.
You can do that to me, too. We have this vast amount of rights to pretty much anything. and it's anything, and as we say, anything goes.
It's not pretty much anything. He's saying that in the state of nature, everybody has a right to everything. Everybody has a right to everything and anything, anytime, all the time, everywhere. That's the state of nature. And since every person has a right to everything, we got to get to constitutional law, we got to get to natural law, or it's just going to be a state of nature where we're all just attacking each other, attacking and raping and stealing, and attacking and raping and stealing and murdering until our lives are solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short.
Well, we don't really want that. That's not peace. That's a horrible state of war in which we're all unhappy. So,
yeah, why are you laughing about it? They ain't fucking funny. What if people are, there's people in this country that have to go through this shit where they're in fear constantly of their lives, of their properties being taken. They're in fear all the time. What little bit they get, what little bit they own, some motherfucker wants to fucking take it from them. So, yeah, big fucking laughter, big fucking deal. Yeah, just laugh it up there, Chucky the Clown. Yeah, so fucking funny, right, Chucky the Clown?
What should we do? How do we get out of that? We have to be willing when others are so too. He says, as far forth as for peace and defense of himself, he shall think it necessary to lay down this right to all things and be contented with so much liberty against other men as he would allow other men against ourselves. So there's, quite a few parts to this, right?
But then finally, 8 minutes in, and you told us the second law? Jesus fucking Christ. John Masters was able to tell us the two laws in the first 2 minutes. Or the first 3 minutes. It took you 8.5 minutes. 2 laws? Motherfucker, and it's only one sentence. Tie people up, huh, and throw them down a well. Yeah, I'm so sure. Burn down their houses and fucking steal their chickens. Better watch out if this is your neighbor. He's gonna steal your fucking chickens and he might tie you up and try to sell you for ransom. Oh yeah, well, if you want your damn wife back, you better give me $50. Alright, $40. Deal. That's a deal.
Be willing. And willing for Hobbes doesn't just mean sort of a vague thing. Will is the last deliberation. It's what you actually do. So you have to do this. You have to be willing when others are willing, only to certain degrees, right? So,
oh my God, shut the fuck up. The triumph of the will here, Mr. fucking Adolf fucking Hitler. Yeah, Mr. Belvedere, I'd rather listen to Mr. Belvedere. When I'm fucking, this guy goes on and on, it's like, man, I want to go watch Mr. Belvedere. I bet you that damn Mr. Belvedere is going to come up with a funny joke or two. He's going to eventually make me laugh or say something interesting. This guy never says anything interesting. He never makes me laugh. And, he's got some fucking issues. Fucking kooky ass son of a bitch. Fucking crazy town motherfucker.
We transfer these rights mutually. I'm going to give up the right of going in and taking whatever I want from your pantry.
My God! We understand what war is. We understand people being shitty to each other. Now he wants to steal from our pantry?
Talking about covenant, and he uses this term a lot. Now, a covenant or a pact is when there's a...
Or a contract. Motherfucker.
Future orientation of it. One of the members has done something, and in the meantime be trusted. Then the contract is called pact or covenant. Or both parts may contract now to perform hereafter, in which cases he that is to perform in time to come, being trusted,
shut the fuck up.
Your stuff today. You're not going to just do that. We'll do that tomorrow, next week, and the week after that, and really forever. Now,
you're going to what? Steal my stuff forever?
Immediate situation. I have this entire orientation towards the future, not just the immediate situation, but I say, okay, I'm not only not going to steal your stuff today, and you're not going to just do that, we'll do that tomorrow, next week, and the week after that.
Well, that sounds good. That sounds good around you, motherfucker. Who knows what you're up to? You're going to steal shit out of my pantry? You're going to take my damn chickens? Try to tie me up, throw me down a well, and then try to ransom me? Like, yeah, can we agree that you're not going to do that shit? fucking Gregory B. Sadler. Can we do that, Mr. Belvedere? Chucky the Clown? Motherfucker?
And really, forever. Now, that's important.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
That's what allows us
it is important for you to not do that shit to others.
To have a sense of security that we're looking for. He also says something really interesting at the very end of this chapter.
It better be interesting.
He tells us that oaths don't add anything to this because
okay, an oath doesn't add anything.
Yourself. Here we go. An oath taken according to any other form or right than his that sweareth is in vain, and no oath. An oath adds nothing to the obligation. A covenant, if it's lawful, binds in the sight of God without the oath as much with it. If unlawful, it bindeth not at all, even if it be confirmed with an oath. So,
oh yeah, you swear to God, you swear on your place in heaven that you're telling the truth. Swear in your life that if I make you swear in your life, that doesn't make your word stronger, okay? You better swear on your soul. You're telling me if I make you swear on your own, let's say, house, your own property, are you telling me the truth or are you lying to me? You're telling me an oath? An oath doesn't make it any stronger? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, oaths aren't really that important. He also mentions, too, that if there's transferring of right, but then it's not mutual, but one of the parties wants to gain friendship, service, or from his friends, in hope to gain the reputation of charity or magnanimity or deliver his mind from the pain of compassion or hope and reward of heaven. He says, this is not contract, but gift, free gift, grace, which words signify one and the same thing. So he's putting that aside, right?
Yeah, we keep putting everything aside and put it off to the side. Put self-defense off to the side. Everything off to the side, motherfucker. This has got to be the worst goddamn lecture ever. Let's just get to the end here. Is there anything else he says? We'll just start right here and give him you got one more minute.
He does say that covenants entered into fear in the condition of mere nature are obligatory. And he talks about ransoming your life, right? Somebody, says, I'm going to kill you if you don't pay a ransom. Okay, you do have to follow through on that.
That's that damn Hobbes. Oh man!
But that's not really that important. And
but it's funny though. It's a good time.
If there is a common power set over both people making the agreement with right and force sufficient to compel performance, it's not void. The one that performs first has no assurance the other will perform after, because bonds of words are too weak to bridle human beings' ambitious, avarice, anger, and other passions without the fear of some coercive common power.
Is this, are you making all this shit up? Where is this coming from? Is this actually the laws of nature? Because Thomas Hobbes and his laws of nature are fucking genius. The rest of Thomas Hobbes is kind of bullshit. But he's a royalist, right? But he's saying that you got to obey the king no matter what. But if the king tries to tell you you're not allowed to defend yourself, then the king is on some damn bullshit. So if you're trying to ransom, well, if someone captures you and ransoms you, he's talking about wartime shit. So if you're a prisoner of war, then...
Which in the condition of mere nature, we don't have. So he says... In a civil estate where there is a power set up to constrain those that would otherwise violate their faith,
and also realize that he's trying to appeal to the king. So what part is true, right? He's an atheist trying to appeal to the clergy and try to appeal to all these religious motherfuckers. He actually quotes the Bible all the time. He quotes the entire Bible. If there's anybody that knows the Bible better than Thomas Hobbes, I don't believe you. I don't fucking believe you. Thomas Hobbes knows that David is the one that wrote the Psalms. Solomon wrote Ecclesiastes, and Solomon had a stake in Proverbs. And two other random-ass motherfuckers wrote Proverbs too. And Thomas Hobbes knows this. Thomas Hobbes knows what's going on. Bo knows. No, Thomas Hobbes knows. Gregory Sadler, he don't know shit. We got 3 seconds.
Fear is no longer reasonable, and so...
Okay, fear is no longer reasonable, and so what? So what? What the fuck is your point, you asshole? Supposed to pay money for this motherfucker to fucking lecture down to me? Why don't you pay money just so I have to listen to you and give you better feedback? You suck. You suck, and you need to fucking do way fucking better. Yeah, trying to put philosophy into practice, you piece of shit. If a goddamn good smart student was to sit there and say, hey, I got this smart idea and I got a coherent philosophy about the world. Well, I know what's right, wrong, and you don't. Well, fuck you then. Fuck you, Gregory B. Sadler. Fuck you.